Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I've got Rob Beardsley here. He's the principal and founder of Lone Star Capital, who we've done several deals with, and we've been very pleased with the results. I really like their group. They're results driven, and they're not transactional when it comes to these deals. We've developed a relationship over the years, and it's very important to me from a trust factor. So without further ado, we'll get into the Cortland Vizcaya deal. And really quick, this presentation is just as reference material. It does not constitute an offer or sell any binding security, investment product, or investment advisory service. So when in doubt, speak to your CPA and your legal professionals when in doubt. So, okay, getting on into it. This property is over in Katy, Texas. Rob and his team have gone through and underwritten and done all the due diligence that we look for in this property. Luckily, this is, as Craig, who couldn't join us today, says, this is a cut and paste for some of the other Cortland deals that Oakley Capital has invested with already. And we are, again, very pleased with the results. You can set your watch to the monthly distributions where you're getting a coupon for investing in the deal. And so I've been impressed with Rob's team. Rob actually moved over to Houston, which going down from New York is probably a little bit of a culture shock, but he got in, rolled his sleeves up, and really got into the management and the operational side, which I appreciate very much, and which is not the sexiest thing to do, but he did it, and now it's paying the dividends, for doing so. So a little bit about Rob and his team. Rob co-founded Lone Star in 2018. They've done over 700 million in apartment deals that they're still managing right now. And Rob's written a couple of books that have done really well, and his team is averaging over 30% returns since 2018, which is pretty sporty. So a little bit about the deal really quick. We've got a 50,000 a unit. 312 units here, 2004 Cortland deal. My Birmingham guys, you'll know Cortland. It's right down the street from Bottega, where we have our lunches all the time. They really put out a really nice product. So this is that deal built in 2004. It's been kept really, really nice, neat, great grounds, huge pool, similar to the Cortland deal that we did last year, guys. If you guys are in on that one, really, really nice property. I mean, I would live there if it was me right out of college. I'm like, this is where I want to live, right? And so either that, or if you're, trying to downsize, it's got something for everyone there. So 50 million on this one. They actually got $1.5 million reduction recently. So very, very light CapEx budget. 2,600 a unit. Usually, you're going in, you're spending at least 10 per unit on a rehab deal. We're not having to do that. This deal's in really great shape. And where the spread's going to come in is when they go in and have the tax abatement whenever they've got this deal with the Houston Housing Authority, which I'll let Rob speak to the details of that. So, Rob, I will give it to you. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and anything that you want to provide additional context and color, please go for it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, like you said, the real magic behind this deal is the property tax exemption program, which is done in partnership with the Houston Housing Authority. So this partnership is a 99-year ground lease, which gives us a 99-year property tax exemption that lives with the asset beyond our ownership. So when we plan to exit in 5 years, the new owner will be able to step in and enjoy the property tax exemption as well, which creates capitalized value to the asset. So that's how we're actually creating value add like returns while taking much less risk than a conventional deal. Like you said, Barrett, with a $10,000 per unit CapEx budget, which takes you a couple years to renovate all the units, raise rents by $150, $250. And then at the end of the day, you're more exposed to economic conditions as far as being able to get those rent increases and so on. So in this business plan, we actually are preserving affordability. We are capping half the rents. So we're placing restrictions on 50% of the units. 50% of the other units remain market. And this deal actually fits perfectly to a T to doing this business plan. So number one, it's in a great location. It's in the Katy School District, number one school district in Houston, and it's in the path of progress. So what I mean by that is it's not in the heart of things where rents are $2,000, $3,000, and the rent restrictions would be very punitive to revenue. Instead, rents here are modest around 1,600, and so it actually doesn't materially impact the rents to preserve the affordability. So that's what we like to see on the revenue side. From a physical perspective, like you mentioned, it's a 2004 vintage deal, so it doesn't have much deferred maintenance. It's in really good shape, just really the type of real estate that we like to own that's not brand new, but it's not going to present a lot of deferred issues through our ownership period. And then one of the real key sweet spots about this deal also is that it is majority one bedrooms, which in normal case, that would be a negative because we actually typically like to cater to families and we like to have twos and threes. But in this case, one bedrooms are actually what you want because the rent restriction is actually most favorable on the one bedrooms versus a two, because on a two bedroom, you might have to bring the rents down $500, or on the three bedroom, $500 to be in compliance. But on the ones, you might be only bringing the rents down $100. So having smaller units and having more one bedrooms actually fits this program perfectly, where we can thread the needle of providing affordable housing, but then really benefiting through the tax exemption where we can get a big pop to our NOI the day one after we close.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And so, this again, I can't tell you enough like what the property just looks like aesthetically, and so it just really checks all the boxes: fitness centers, and the just all the amenities that this property has. Is more like a resort, just like the last Portland deal. I mean, Portland just puts out a great product. Let's be honest. And so there's not. I don't want to say it's not little to do, but if you focus on your operations, and which Rob has really done over the past 12 months, especially, not that they didn't before, but they really shine a light on all the corners of the business, including the operations. From what I can, tell. I even spoke with their manager back in New York last year, and he had a lot of great things to say, and I asked him some pretty pointed questions. He had all the answers, and they've executed on that. So when you got something like this, it's like, hey, let's just really make the residents' lives better, incentivize people to do all the right things and do all the little things right, and that's what they've done. And so it's great when you can buy a property like this. Like, okay, awesome. Well, now what? Now the real work starts. So you buy one, and you got to buy it low, of course. And Rob mentioned path of progress. That's what you want. So you're buying it low, you'll sell it high. And so you're buying at the right time. This is like a stock that hasn't hit yet. So we're catching it low, and we'll sell it high. But how do you do that? What's the strategy, and how do you execute on that plan? Rob and his team have done a really good job with their track record, showing me that they know how to do that, and they're only getting better by the day, which is impressive to me. So, but Houston and Katy. Katy is like, that's the best submarket in Houston. So for anybody, living here around Birmingham, that's like the Peachtree Hills of Atlanta, or that's, the Mountain Brook of Birmingham. This is where you want to be, best school district. This is why you pay the high taxes to be in these school districts around here. Same case scenario there. So just a great product that's already there on the ground, and kudos to Rob and his team for having the relationship with Berkadia, who has sold them a lot of deals. And Berkadia doesn't just sell a deal to anybody. They got to know that these folks will perform. And so Rob and his team perform. They've got the track record to do so. And what's great about this one is, Rob, he touched on it for a moment there, is the exit strategy. Well, who are you going to sell it to? Are you going to leave some meat on the bone for the next guys? And yes, by doing this with the transferable 99-year ground lease on for the taxes, that is certainly a huge deal moving forward. And if you're not going to renovate all the classic units, that's another thing where you can go in. It's like, okay, value add. All the value add guys want to see that. Like, well, what are we going to do with it, right? They've already squeezed all the juice out of it. No. With this, you've got it set up to where everybody goes, wow, that's a good deal for them, but it's also going to be a great deal for us too, because they've preserved it in a way. so that value add strategy is there. So we're not going to have a hard time selling this deal. So that's a huge thing to think about. People always like get really like focused on, they can only see as far as their headlights shine. Well, you got to have a vision too for whenever you're going to sell it. So anyway, they've checked all the boxes for that. So Rob, anything else you want to drill down into before
Yeah, I
we?
mean, you mentioned the fact that this property has classic units and some renovated units. So both finishes look really nice, but the renovated units look super nice. But the thing is where we are in the general economic cycle as well as the apartment cycle is there's been a lot of new supply nationally over the last couple of years, and which is going to be absorbed over the next about 18 months, maybe less, and more less in Houston because actually Houston doesn't have a big supply problem, which is fantastic for the growth coming up. So I think this is a great entry point for Houston specifically. So this deal with about a third of the units being renovated to that premium finish, like you said, when we do exit, we're going to be able to show a future buyer, hey, here's what the renovated units look like and what they're achieving from a rent perspective. Now you've got the other two-third units as classics, you can go ahead and renovate. So that opens up to a broader pool of owners that are not just interested in the tax exemption, which provides them the stability of not having to see their property tax go up like crazy. That's a big risk in Texas that people like to mitigate if they can, and which is rare in this case. And then also the value add buyers. That's a big buyer pool. People are looking, where can I buy a deal and renovate the interiors and get a rent increase? That's just on top of people's minds. So being able to offer that on the back end is going to help us sell this property at a compressed cap rate.
Yeah, that's right. So, for this one, that's a good point. Where you've got you want to go into these deals with lower risk, obviously. So, I mean, but typically these value add deals, what I grew up doing is, okay, we got a risky property here. It's a C class property. You got to go in there really, you got to really hit all these road marks or marks in the road where it's like, okay, did we achieve this? Did we achieve this? Did we achieve this? And all these different mile markers, I should say. And with this one, I don't want to say it's a layup, but if you keep your head screwed on straight, this deal still cash flows at what, 73%, something like that. And it's historically been 95% occupied. And so that's a big deal. It's like that kind of takes a lot of the tension out of it and goes, okay, focus on operations, do what we do every single day and like do it at a high level, and we're probably going to be okay. So there's not a ton of risk, and you don't have to kind of like run the table, so to speak, with a value add deal with that kind of strategy where you're going to be raising rents every single year, 2-3%. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And so with this one, it's like, let's really focus on the expenses. We've got all these intangibles that are there with the tax, offset and that sort of thing. So all that being said, it's a pretty safe deal to go into. And so we're going to be pretty heavy on it, like we have with the other deals with them, because we believe in it. So, thanks to Rob and his team for allowing Oakland Capital, to come in and partner with them again. We appreciate the partnership, and I know all of our investors do as well. So,
Yeah, well, thanks to you and thanks to all your investors. We look forward to partnering with you guys.
absolutely. Okay, thanks, Rob. Talk to you soon.